what's going on, everybody? Bob here in the Video Vault. I know it's been a few weeks since I had a chance to do a video, but you know, when you're a new dad like I am, you really have to squeeze these in whenever you can. So I thought today, while my son was taking a nap, I would go over a couple of the Blu-rays that I bought in the last few weeks here since my last video, and also maybe show off a couple other little things in my collection that I thought somebody might get a kick out of or whatever. So anyway, let's just go ahead and dive right in, because God knows when he's going to wake up, so I don't have all the time. So let's go right into this, and we'll see what I got. Alrighty guys, so I just wanted to talk about a couple of the movies. I only have a few that I picked up in the last couple of weeks here, so I'm going to jump right into it. First one that I picked up was Strange Brew, which is a comedy from the 80s based on a skit that was from the Canadian series, oh man, what was the name of that show? SCTV was what it was, which was basically like a Saturday Night Live. It was a sketch comedy show back in the day. And this movie is hilarious. If you've never seen it, you can check out the clips on YouTube of the actual skits that this was based on. But this movie is a ton of fun. I haven't watched it in years. And it was just released on Blu-ray only, I want to say a month or so ago. Nothing really special about the Blu-ray itself. It's actually pretty inexpensive too. It was in the $7 bin, or $7.88 bin at Walmart. There isn't much for special features or anything on here. This does have, it says, The Animated Adventures of Bob and Doug McKenzie, a couple of the sketches from SCTV, and the trailer. So really nothing extra about this Blu-ray itself. Great cover art, though. I just want to point out that I think that the cover art on this is one of the better things I've seen outside of like the Shout Factory and the Scream Factory cases. So I think the artwork on this is just fantastic. Pretty bare bones release, but still a great movie. And if you haven't seen it, you should definitely check that out. Next movie that I picked up here was Goosebumps, which has been out for a little while now, a couple months here. But I loved this movie. My wife and I saw this movie in the theater. And we were the only two people in the theater. It was the last day that it even played at my local cinema, so it had already been out for a month or two at that point. But I just thought that this movie was tons of fun. The Goosebumps series by R.L. Stine, of course, the books. That was from, I grew up on those books, so I really thought that, I wasn't sure how the movie was going to play out, but I really liked the fact that they did not really take a story. It wasn't a Goosebump singular story that they made. It was, all the different characters from a ton of the different Goosebump books, and it got kind of, basically Jack Black plays the character of R.L. Stine, and his kid and the neighbor kid and another friend, they have these, adventure here in trying to stop all the characters that were accidentally released from R.L. Stine's book, and they're kind of, wreaking havoc on the city. So this was a fun kids movie. It's a little dark, I would think, for really young kids. But if you grew up on the Goosebumps series, or you've got kids, like 8-10-year-old kids, would probably love this movie as well. So definitely a good family film. A little horrific maybe for young kids, like I said, but a good family film overall. If you want to get your kids into horror movies early, something like this would be a pretty good way to go. Speaking of horror, the next movie that I picked up was Crimson Peak, which I absolutely loved. I think it kind of went under the radar of a lot of people. But this is a Del Toro film, and it is a horror movie, but it's a gothic horror movie. It's kind of a gothic romance movie, and I absolutely loved it. I thought the storyline of the movie was fantastic, and of course, because it's a Del Toro movie, it has a certain look to it, and the cinematography of this movie is just top notch. If you're really into ghost stories, kind of slow burn horror movies, I would certainly give this movie a watch. The only thing that takes it out for me was there was a little bit of kind of poor CGI. I wish that they had just maybe done kind of on-set effects. But for the most part, really didn't take you out of it too much. But I think that the storyline of this is just so incredible. And if you did not check this one out, then I would definitely recommend doing so. Next movie I picked up was The Hateful Eight. I did not get to see this in the theater, but I desperately would have loved to have been able to see it in the 70mm print that it was released. This is Quentin Tarantino's eighth movie. Great, just like every other Tarantino movie, it's kind of an action movie, kind of a drama, but with superbly over-the-top dialogue, and tons of fun, fun one-liners kind of things. The cast on this movie is just incredible. Samuel L. Jackson playing in yet another Quentin Tarantino movie. Kurt Russell, it was fantastic in this. I am a huge fan of Walton Goggins, right down here, who was on The Shield, which is my favorite show, and he was also in Justified. And he did have a small part in Tarantino's last film, the Django Unchained. So you might remember him from that, if nothing else. But this was a great movie. I didn't have a chance to see it in the theater, like I said, but so as soon as it came out, I sat down and watched it. It's long. I want to say it's near 3 hours, or maybe even it was slightly over. It actually took me 2 days to finish this movie, but it was, did not drag at all for me. The only reason it took 2 days is because we started watching it very late. So, did not drag, great acting, just incredible movie. And as I say, got three Academy Award nominations. Unfortunately, didn't take any home. I really thought that Jennifer Jason Leigh might take the Best Supporting Actress. She was really great in this. But if you're into Quentin Tarantino movies, this was one of my favorites. I've seen every Tarantino movie with the exception of Inglourious Bastards, which I get a lot of crap from movie fans. I've just never taken the time to sit down and watch it. I do want to see it, I just haven't. But if you are into Tarantino movies, then I would definitely watch The Hateful Eight. If you are not into Tarantino movies and you know that about yourself, you might not enjoy this one. It's not any different than anything else that he's done as far as content or really anything like that. This is a straight Western, but if you really watch Tarantino's movies in general, they're kind of all Westerns in a way, but this one's legitimately. But great movie, great drama, with, like I said, with the Tarantino kind of one-liners and stuff. So if that's your thing, then definitely pick this movie up here. And then last but not least, as far as the movies go, had to go out, and I picked up Deadpool day one. This is the Steelbook that was the exclusive to Best Buy. Actually ended up being cheaper when I pre-ordered it. It was only like $20 for the Steelbook, and the regular edition was $25. So that's not bad. This one does have the digital copy, and it has the DVD inside. The DVD in this, and I can't really open it while I'm holding the camera at the same time, but the DVD just comes in its own little kind of slip sleeve. It's not in there in a separate slot, like the most of them would be, which was kind of weird, but it doesn't really matter because I'll never probably watch the DVD anyway. But this movie was hilarious. It's probably my second favorite superhero movie of all time, behind X-Men Days of Future Past, but I'm a huge X-Men fan, and that movie was just phenomenal for me. But this movie, tons of fun, lots of great jokes, a lot of fourth wall breaking, and if you are a comic book fan or a Marvel comic book fan, then you will love a lot of the jokes that are made in this movie. Tons of action, extremely over the top. I mean, as you can see here, if it'll focus in, probably not, but it is rated R. There we go, strong violence, language, sexual content, and graphic nudity, which is, this is not the first R-rated comic book movie. It is it is kind of it's groundbreaking in that how much money it made. I mean, it's the second highest grossing R-rated film of all time. So that tells you, exactly how much Marvel put behind it. Well, actually, this was Fox, technically. But as far, studio-wise, they really kind of probably took a little bit of a leap of faith, and it paid off immensely. And now we're going to be seeing several other R-rated comic book movies as well. It's already been confirmed that the next Wolverine movie, which will be the last for Hugh Jackman if he doesn't re-sign, which he says he's not going to, will be R-rated. So that's kind of cool, because an R-rated Wolverine movie is long overdue. The only thing that gets me about this set itself, the text is upside down on the side. And I'm almost positive they did that on purpose to screw with people, because if you've seen the movie, you know that the whole thing with Deadpool is that he's kind of a dick, and that would be the kind of thing that it would do. So I'm almost positive they did it as like a haha on the side, because every other Fox movie is printed properly. Everything else that they've ever done is printed properly. This one just happens to be that way. So if it was not a joke, then I guess it sucks. It sucks when everything on the shelf you're putting it in there and everything, so I have to have the case upside down. And yes, I do keep the back on these. It's just something I do. I like to have the cardboard on there. So anyway, if you have not checked out Deadpool, then I highly recommend doing so. If you are an action fan, if you're a comic book fan, or if you're a comedy fan, crude comedy, then give this one a go for sure. It's pretty cheap. It just came out this week, so give it a go. Last thing that I kind of wanted to show off real quick was, I know I've said in a couple other videos that I'm sure I've told everybody that I do have my own movie that we released called the Carnage Collection. You can see a couple copies down there. I just wanted to throw a quick shout out to a buddy of mine, Albert, who created for me, this is a custom pop figure of the clown from our movie, The Carnage Collection. I just thought that this came out awesome. I'm sure that if you're watching this, you probably haven't seen our movie, so you don't know how perfect this is, but this is perfect for how it looks in the movie. I got this for my wife for Mother's Day / her birthday because she played the clown in the movie, so she thought this was fantastic. So I just wanted to show off how awesome this came out. And if you're a pop collector, maybe we'll release some pops for the Carnage Collection down the road. But some cool. It was really cool. It was a buddy of mine did this for me, custom work for me and stuff. And I hope to actually get several other characters made for my movie, The Carnage Collection here that we released. So anyway, guys, that's the end of the video. I just wanted to show off some of those things real quick. Hopefully. Some of those movies appeal to you, and check them out on YouTube. And thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.